If that made some of you sick, I'm sorry. Not like 100% sorry, like 85% sorry, but I'm still sorry. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Saturday. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been playing Doom, the original Doom, 1993 Doom, from 7 years ago. And I've been playing it on the Switch because there was a Switch port. Limited Run did a physical version of it, so Doom 1, 2, and 3 are all on the cart, which is very cool. And I just finished it today. Doom is split up into 3 episodes that were out when the game released in 1993, and then 2 years later, Doom got a retail release as Ultimate Doom, and they added a 4th hard episode, and that's the one I played today. So I wanted to take a minute to say that I finished Doom and talk a little bit about my experience, because I am someone that had never played Doom before, and it's been a while because this game came out in 93. I didn't grow up with a computer, which probably seems weird, but we didn't have a computer in the house until I was like 10-ish, around that age. And when I think about computer games that we had, Roller Coaster Tycoon, The Sims, I did have an FPS, and that was Outlaws, which is a LucasArts game. I have a full playthrough of that over on Steven Plays, and I love that game, but it's not Doom. Doom certainly was an inspiration for it, I am sure, as it was an inspiration for the entire first-person shooter genre. But it was certainly a different experience. Wild West versus shooting demons in hell. Doom is an interesting game to go back and play. And the most interesting part of it, by far, is not being able to aim vertically. That is the single-handedly the weirdest thing, because it wasn't long after Doom that we were aiming up and down, and to go back and play a game where you don't do that is just, it's fine, but there's an adjustment period, because walking into a room and seeing a guy above you and just going, okay, and just shooting in front of you and like he dies, you have to adjust your brain to it. It adjusts pretty quick, but it's still strange. And there's parts of the game that are really unfortunate due to this limitation, because if there's an enemy below you, you may not know that. And the enemies make sounds, but so does everything else in the game, and there's always sounds going on. So you might come up to a ledge that you need to jump down, and there's enemies down there you don't even know about. To make matters worse, some of the enemies that do like melee attacks, like there's some that'll try and bite you. If you're at an edge and they're at the bottom, to the game, that's next to each other. So there were multiple times where I would get up to a ledge and there would be a monster down below me that can bite. And even though I'm like 4 floors up, it doesn't matter, because to the game, I'm standing next to him. So I would start taking damage, and I'm looking around, I'm like, who's shooting at me? No one's shooting at me. There's a pinky down there and it's biting at nothing, and I'm taking damage. So there's a few of these like little quirks that you have to get used to, but you adjust pretty quick. And over the past few weeks, I've played through the entire game, and I've really enjoyed it. I think the most important thing with an experience like this is does it hold up? And it does. And that's amazing. Whenever you've got games that are 7 years old like this, it's incredible when you can go back and play something and it's still fun in 2024. And it is. And I think the reason it is because of the fast-paced nature of Doom. Doom plays very quickly. They want you to play it very quickly. It is a game that gives you par times at the end of every level, which is very funny. I was always going over par and wondering how on earth you were supposed to beat these levels in 90 seconds. It seemed unreal. But they want you to move fast, and you can. And there's some points in the game, even though you can't jump, where you can like use your speed to clear gaps because you're just moving so quickly. And that's where Doom excels, literally. Being able to run through a map and shoot stuff and never stop moving, just always being on the move, is just downright fun. And I played it usually a little more cautiously than that because that's just the type of person I am, I guess. But I still got through it, and I still had a blast. The weapons are fun. I think it would have been nice to have like some sort of throwable in the game, but also you can't aim up and down, so I guess that doesn't really help you too much. I enjoyed getting a chance to use the infamous BFG, which again, like, you know, even though I've never played Doom, so much of Doom is video game pop culture, so like I know about it, and getting a chance to like see these enemies and stuff in the game that they came from is just really cool. Is a cool history lesson, and it's so much better that the game is still fun to play. And the Switch port actually supports cooperative multiplayer, so if you and your friends want to sit down and play couch co-op, you can play through the entirety of Doom with up to 3 other people, split screen, and I just think that that's really neat. So yeah, still holds up, still fun to play, a wealth of mods. The Switch version has actually some mods that you can download from Bethesda's site. It's like the top 20 or 30. But like online, there's tens of thousands of mods for Doom. So there's a level of infinite replayability. And maybe that is one of the reasons why Doom has, you know, stayed in the public's mind for, you know, going on 30 years. I mean, 7. And that's because there is so much out there for it. I guess at times it's also been in the news cycle for brainwashing high schoolers or something. But overall, it's fun to play. It's actually fun to play. I have a few little nitpicks with it, mostly related to like some design choices. For instance, throughout the game, most of the time, red floor tiles are bad. Like if you step on red, you take damage, but then other times you don't. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's many times where you're supposed to go is not particularly obvious. There was a few levels in the game that were just super confusing. Most of them weren't, but some of them were in a huge way, and that was a little frustrating. There's a bunch of secrets, obviously, in each level, and sometimes the way that you get those secrets is straightforward. You just go up to a wall and you press the action button and it opens. And then other times it's like real obscure. There's one where you had to go stand next to this pillar. You don't press anything, you just stand there and it opens. And I'm like, okay, well, I had interacted with the pillar. Why didn't it open? Don't know. So there's a few little weird choices like that, but overall, I just think it's very impressive when a game this old is still very, very fun to play. And Doom is still very, very fun to play. However, I do want to say that the episode I played today was hard as nails. Because, my God, when Doom released in 1993, there were 3 episodes to it. And then 2 years later, Doom got a retail release in stores as Ultimate Doom, and they added a 4th episode, basically to entice people to buy it again, essentially, so they could play this new episode. And because Doom had already been out for a while and people were getting good at it and making their own stuff, they wanted to make, you know, basically a pretty hard episode. Episode consists of 9 levels, by the way. They wanted to make, you know, some really hard levels for people. And that's what I played today. And they are hard. They're not just hard, they're brutal and brutally unfair. There is some stuff that happens that's just like ridiculous. And on top of that, Doom has a tendency to troll players. And like it does that a little bit throughout all 3 of the episodes. But that 4th episode, it just takes that to the max, man. There are times where you think you're going to get something good, and then the biggest enemies in the game just come out of the wall and start shooting at you. So, the 4th episode, oh boy, especially the first 2 missions of that are just ridiculous. I more or less had to save Scum to get through them, just because it was so much. But I did get through them, and then the rest of the episode got a lot easier. But the game on the whole, including episode 4, was certainly very, very fun, and I enjoyed my time with it. Always impressed when a game from, this long ago is still fun to play. And I look forward to, at some point, maybe, playing Doom 2. I also want to play 2016 Doom. Definitely want to play that, but maybe experiencing Doom 2 at some point in the future. I want to know from all of you, have you played Doom before? Have you played the 1993 original? Maybe on PC back in the day, maybe you had it on Super Nintendo or PlayStation. It was actually ported to several different places. I think it's on Saturn. I'm just curious who has played it. And also, when was the last time you played it? Because it might have been 15 or 20 years since you played it. Might be worth going back to and just re-experiencing it a little bit. I was impressed with it, and certainly there are some limitations of the time and some game design choices that we probably wouldn't make today, but it was still a lot of fun and I enjoyed it a lot. So if you haven't played it yourself, it might be something to consider, even if it's just a few levels, something to try. And if you don't want to play it yourself, you can always watch me play it. All 4 of the episodes are up as streams on Steven VOD, so you can check those out and watch my experience with it. You can watch me get trolled by Doom and go, every time a monster comes out of nowhere and tries to crush my skull open. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?